Hello and welcome back. By this point, you should be familiar with all of the debugging actions and how to use them effectively. The profile execution topic that we're covering in this demo is the final piece of the puzzle for achieving a great debugging experience. This video will uncover how profile execution works, how to identify and fix performance issues in an automation process. Let's begin with a quick overview. This feature enables us to increase the execution performance of our automation to optimal levels by profiling our workflows. It helps us to identify performance bottlenecks when we execute our workflows by capturing the execution time of each activity alongside other descriptive stats. Once again, we're using the same process that reads employee data from an Excel file and enters it into the web form. Let's go to the Debug ribbon tab, Enable Profile Execution, and run our project. An important thing to mention right from the start is that profiling data generated during debugging might be different from data generated during production. Running the file. Let's see first what we have here. In the profiling panel on the right-hand side of Studio, we have a performance analysis of all of the operations, showing a cumulative percentage of the execution time of each activity. Here, we can use Expand All and Collapse All to bring to view or collapse all activities. Use the search function to look for specific activities. Select an activity to see the execution details at the bottom of the Profiling tab. Or select a container and see the execution details for the parent and children activities. The workflow looks solid at first glance, but if we select a few Type Into activities, we find that Type Into first name takes a lot more time than the others to execute. Looking closer at the properties of this activity, we notice that the delay before option is set to 3 seconds. This property adds a delay to wait before executing an activity. Let's remove this value and leave the default one, which is 0.2 seconds. Okay, let's further investigate by going back to the profiling panel. As we select a few click activities, we notice that they typically take about 1 second to execute. But wait, click Submit Another Answer took on average 4 seconds to complete. How can we fix this? If we bring up the form page, we see that one of the fields is empty, and this might have caused a timeout issue for the Submit button. Also, it's clear that data is missing in the Excel file. And here it is, in the last row, the email address is missing. Now let's take a look at the properties of Click Submit Another Response activity. Okay, the timeout value is the default one, set to 30 seconds. There's just one more aspect that we can observe. Continue on Error property is set to true. When this property is set to true, all errors that occur during the execution of the activity are ignored. These two factors contributed to the high execution time for this activity. Our recommendation is to configure appropriate timeout values for the click activity if the Continue on Error property is required in real case scenarios. In our project, we've removed the reason for the error and we've unchecked the Continue on Error property because we prefer to stop the execution in case such an error occurs. So let's disable the property and add an email address in the Excel file. So far so good. Let's run the workflow again. Performance improved considerably for the Type Into first name activities. And click Submit Another Response Type into last name, however, takes a long time to execute. In order to improve performance, what would you check? Let's find out. The input method is set to hardware events, but is it the same for the other type into activities? No, they're set to simulate. Let's go ahead and change it to the same as App Browser and see if it makes a difference. Great, no other red flags. Let's run the workflow one last time and see where we stand. Here's the result. The performance improved considerably. There's one more detail to cover. We can import profiling sessions to examine previous runs. And this is it for this demonstration. Before parting, let's remember the steps that we took today to fix this workflow. We made use of the Profile Execution option to check our project for performance issues. We identified and fixed the occurrences where those errors caused a slow performance, the properties for different type into and click activities. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you later, and happy automation!